Hello, Dr. Coker here, and I'm going to explain the complete story of Final Fantasy XIV Shadowbringers in 10 minutes. Let's get started. During A Realm Reborn, Heavensward, and Stormblood, you and the Scions traveled the world and helped forge alliances with diverse empires. Central Eorzea, Ishgard, Alamigo, and Doma are now all united against the evil Garlean Empire. During post-Stormblood, we learned that within Garlemald is a growing faction of those who want to make peace, but royalty there is going the opposite direction, developing a superweapon known as Black Rose. That whole storyline is paused for the moment though, as one by one the Scions start dropping unconscious. You suspect that someone from a faraway place is pulling their souls out of their bodies. At the end of post-Stormblood, you met the mysterious soul-calling man while unconscious who urged you to go to the Crystal Tower. Now, at the base of the Crystal Tower, you find an odd gadget. The moment you touch it, you are pulled through the rift, and you find yourself in a place called Lakeland on a foreign planet. Here, everything is overwhelmingly bright, and no one on this planet has seen a dark sky in 100 years. Seeing the Crystal Tower in the distance, you head that way. You encounter Sin Eaters, which are basically light demons that have been spawning since this world's end began. The mysterious man approaches and says he is the Crystal Exarch, and he rules the Crystarium, the city built around the Crystal Tower. He tells you that the other Scions are all here, as he summoned them by mistake trying to summon you. He calls this planet the first because the source planet you came from has 13 reflections, and this one is the first one. That night you're visited by the ghost of Ardbert, the Warrior of Darkness. He says that the Ascians tricked him into causing the flood of light here, triggering the end of the world 100 years ago. Time flows differently on different reflections, and 100 years have passed since you fought him in post-Heavensward. This also means the other Scions have actually been here without you for years. Anyway, the Exarch then tells you where they are, and you set out to find them. Alphinaud is found in Kholusia, the land ruled by Yulmore. Yulmore is a city where people go to live in decadence, to give up and wait out the end of the world, but it's highly exclusive, and everyone outside lives in poverty. Through various schemes, you make your way inside Yulmore and befriend Lord and Lady Chai. You find the residents living hedonistic lives, and you meet their ruler, Lord Vothri. He's a disgusting man, but somehow everyone seems to love him, and Sin Eaters are docile around him. You leave the city, and next you pursue Alisaie in the land called Araeng. You meet a woman named Tesleen who says she knows Alisaie, so she takes you back to her camp. It's a place where people that are doomed to become Sin Eaters spend their final days under her care. You find Alisaie and she tells you about how the Flood of Light was halted here by the Oracle of Light. A child in the camp named Halric is very close to turning, so you purchase a nectarine, his favorite food. Tesleen will poison it to give him a peaceful death. After this, Tesleen is attacked by an alpha Sin Eater that immediately transforms her into one, and she flies off. You head back to the Crystarium. The Exarch explains that Ascians rejoin shard planets to the source by causing simultaneous calamities on the source and a chosen shard. Rejoining all shards will bring back their god, Zodiark. That's why they've spent ages causing all these calamities. He explains that the key to saving the first is to defeat the Lightwardens, which are like Sin Eater generals responsible for different regions. Suddenly, Lakeland is under attack, so you and the Scions strike back and kill the local Lightwarden. The Warrior of Light can contain the corrupted ether, which prevents another Lightwarden from being born, and restores the night sky to Lakeland, which makes the residents gasp in awe. At the Crystarium, Ranjit, the commander of Yulmore's army, exchanges angry words with the Exarch since a Lightwarden was killed. Then you and the Scions meet with the Scholar and learn that the Oracle of Light is in fact Minfilia from the Source, who came here during post-Heavensward. On the first, there have been multiple generations of reborn Minfilias, and the current one was rescued from captivity by Thancred, but has since been recaptured. You and the army of the Crystarium plan an attack to get her back. The plan succeeds, and you escape with her and Thancred to the region of Mheg. Mheg is a land of deviant fairies who play dangerous pranks on you and the Scions, but with help from Fail-Ul, a friendly fairy, you make your way through and reunite with Urianger. He says that Garlemald's weapon, Black Rose, on the source, and the Flood of Light here on the first, are linked and would be the combined cause of the next rejoining if they don't stop both. There is a giant castle in the middle of Mheg where the Fairy King lives, and it's said that 3 relics are required to enter it. This becomes your quest, and with some help from locals, you acquire all of them. While pursuing the final relic, you meet the Amaurot, which are intelligent flying creatures. One is named Sato, who turns out to be Ardbert's mount from long ago, and he misses him terribly. Once you get to the castle, you find that the Fairy King is in fact the Lightwarden for this region. You destroy him, restoring darkness to Mheg, and Fail-Ul becomes the next Fairy King. Just after this, Ranjit attacks Mheg, but you fight him off with the fairies by your side. Returning to the Crystarium, you meet Emet-Selch, a brilliant Ascian and the founder of the Garlean Empire on the Source. He's furious about you killing Lightwardens, but he says he's actually going to work with you. Then he's present during your next meeting with the Exarch as an observer. At this point, it's decided you should go to Rak'tika Greatwood to reunite with Y'shtola. You find her among the Knights Blessed, a religious group that worships darkness. You meet Runar, a Hrothgar man from the Knights Blessed who's in love with Y'shtola. Y'shtola has been studying an ancient civilization called the Ronka, who have some ruins in this area. After some time passes, Ranjit appears with an army and demands that the Knights Blessed surrender to Yulmore. They name the time and place. Once they're gone, you and Y'shtola make your way to the hidden village of Fano, populated by the last descendants of Ronka, which fell 3,000 years ago. While exploring nearby ruins, Ranjit attacks and Y'shtola falls into a massive pit. You return to Fano to help injured villagers, and Runar is devastated to learn that Y'shtola is missing, but Emet-Selch summons her back from the lifestream. You return to the ruins, then find and slay the Lightwarden, restoring darkness to Rak'tika Greatwood. Emet-Selch explains the meaning of ancient murals found there. He says there was once a perfect world, faced with a crisis, and Zodiark was the savior. But some thought Zodiark was dangerous, and so came Hydaelyn, who defeated Zodiark and sundered the world into 13 shards. The Scions are amazed to realize that Zodiark and Hydaelyn were the first primals, and that Emet-Selch was present for all of this, meaning he's older than the sundering itself. The next day, an army of Sin-Eaters attacks the Crystarium. After the battle, you head back to the edge of the flood with Minfilia. Along the way, a miner named Magus and his workers help you get there, but Ranjit attacks again. Thancred fights him off while you and Minfilia proceed to the edge of the flood, where she communes with Source Minfilia. You have a vision and you see that Ardbert's companions sacrificed themselves to save the world, but Minfilia told Ardbert it wasn't his time yet. Then Source Minfilia blesses the first Minfilia and their souls commune. Minfilia awakens with a new identity. Now she is called Reen, and she has red hair. With her new blessing, she can sense where the Lightwarden is, in Malika's well. So you head there and slay it, restoring darkness to Araeng. At this point, you are containing the corrupted ether of 4 Lightwardens, and you're starting to show some serious side effects. Later, you head to Kholusia to slay the final Lightwarden. Reen can sense that it's in Yulmore, but says its ether is obscured in some way. Then the Scions discover that Yulmore has been feeding people bread made of Sin-Eaters, and it's what's causing the people to obey Vothri. The Scions charge into the city, and you take down Ranjit. Then you discover that Vothri is half Sin-Eater, which is why Sin-Eaters don't attack him, and he's also a Lightwarden. He sprouts wings and flies away. Alphinaud addresses the people of Yulmore and exposes all of Vothri's tricks. Lord and Lady Chai devise a plan to reach Lord Vothri, who's hiding on Mount Gulg. Together with the people of Yulmore, you build a gigantic Talos that helps you reach Mount Gulg. You then slay Lord Vothri, the final Lightwarden, and darkness returns to Kholusia. You have a vision where you learn that it was Emet-Selch who created Vothri, but it's interrupted because the corrupted ether is killing you. The Exarch reveals that he is Rak'tika, who you left in the original Crystal Tower years ago. Then he begins to sacrifice himself, taking your corrupted ether to spare your life. But Emet-Selch shoots him and abducts him, and you remain filled with corrupted ether, and light returns to the skies. Later at the Crystarium, you learn that Rak'tika witnessed the 8th calamity on the Source in the future, then used the Crystal Tower to come back in time and to the first in order to save both worlds. Ardbert informs you that Emet-Selch is hiding in the Tempest under the ocean, so you head there next. Deep within the Tempest, you discover that Emet-Selch used powerful magic to make a massive illusion of an ancient city called Amaurot, complete with phantom ancient people. You meet one named Hythlodaeus, who treats you like a good friend and says your and Ardbert's souls are the same color. Eventually, you find Emet-Selch and he manifests his true form, called Hades. Together with the Scions, and with a bond with Ardbert, you destroy him once and for all. The act of killing him while bonded with Ardbert purges you of corrupted ether. Thus, darkness returns to every region and the first is saved. Not all is well though, because it is still unknown how the Scions will return to the Source. Meanwhile, on the Source, Shadowhunter and Estinian infiltrate Garlemald's palace. The katana-wielding soldier from post-Stormblood was a soldier whose body was possessed by Xenos' soul, and Xenos' body was possessed by the Ascian Elidibus. But then Xenos got his body back by intimidating Elidibus, who fled his body. With Xenos returned, Estinian and Shadowhunter witness him murdering his father, Emperor Varus. Shadowhunter is framed for this, so he and Estinian escape. And that concludes the story of Shadowbringers. I hope you've enjoyed this recap. Stick around on this channel. I'll be releasing the next video in this series, the story of the post-Shadowbringers patches. Until next time.